Welcome to I'm Not Joking, the podcast where a behavioral scientist examines what it's like to live a humorous life. Glimpse into the lives of the funniest people in entertainment, business, and science as your host, Dr. Peter McGraw, explores their habits, motivations, and secrets to success. Get ready to fire up your brain and your funny bone. Now, here's your host.
Welcome to I'm Not Joking, the podcast that looks at the lives of funny people. I'm Peter McGraw. Today's guest is Lisa Chanoux. Lisa is an Arab-American writer and comedian. She's performed all over the U.S., including here in Los Angeles at the Improv, Comedy Store, Laugh Factory, Dynasty Typewriter, and my favorite, Upright Citizens Brigade. She hosts and produces Chatterbox Comedy Night, and she hosts and produces the podcast, What's Your Sign? Welcome, Lisa.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Lisa, if you weren't working as a comedian, writer, or a podcaster, what would you be doing?
Working in bars and restaurants.
Do you work in bars and restaurants now?
Yeah, I have my whole life.
You have your whole life?
Yeah, my mom owns a restaurant.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What kind of restaurant?
Italian.
All right.
Mm-hmm. We're not Italian. But that's what we have.
Tell me, what's the name of this restaurant and where is it?
It's called Sorrento. It's in El Paso, Texas.
All right.
Yeah.
Probably, I don't want to disparage the people in El Paso, but
not a lot of Italian food.
I was going to say, but also like even less Arab fare.
Oh, yeah. There's a few places now, and I'm going to mess up someone's name or something, but there's a few. There's a few places you can get Middle Eastern
food, yeah. Okay. You know what I'm surprised by? This is a complete tangent. We'll get back to your alternative life. This Middle Eastern breakfast is amazing.
Yeah.
And it's not, you don't really find it in the United States.
Yeah, I guess breakfast food, we go French in America, right? Or like Dutch. It's like pastry and egg.
Yeah, it's egg, bacon kind of thing. But this Middle Eastern breakfast, will you describe it?
Well, it kind of depends, I guess, your culture. The stuff that I grew up with, like a flatbread with butter or cheese. I think cheese can be, maybe not in some places they don't do cheese.
Okay, yeah.
We don't really do fruit in yogurt, so it's like plain yogurt. But I guess like the traditional tahini is also popular.
Yes.
I guess that the more traditional would be to have like meze, where it's like little dishes of different stuff.
Cucumber, you know, this kind of thing. Yeah, I'm a big fan. All right, so are you working currently, presently, bartending, serving?
Yeah, bartending. Here
in Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
Are you gonna come?
I don't know.
Okay. It's
I'll stay away if you want.
No, it's hard to. I work in a food hall, Corporation Food Hall, downtown LA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's small. It's not like a bar. It's in a food hall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what kind of bartender are you?
Not a very nice one.
Is that true?
No, I'm cool. I'm nice. It's just downtown clientele can be a little iffy, and
iffy as in snooty.
No, I think it's it's likely
who might wander
coming into a food hall to use the bathroom and ask questions about things that we don't have on the menu, or just that want to be on speakerphone and sit at the bar, and it's like, we're not doing that, because then I don't get any more customers.
So, what would be the ideal bar to be working at then, and why are you not there?
I will be there someday.
Because you clearly have communication skills.
Oh, sure. I'm a new bartender.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, you strike me as like potentially having like the perfect skill set.
I'm fun. I have fun behind the bar too, but I don't know that many drinks.
Okay.
But that's okay. I learn quick, and I would like to work somewhere that has louder music and a little bit darker lighting. Yeah. And maybe some more seating.
That's interesting. I would want to work at a place that is definitely dark, but not loud music.
Not loud music.
No.
I get to pick the music, so I think that's why I said loud, where I could hear it more.
Do you have like a playlist that you're using?
I use Spotify, but I will do like 70s, sometimes 80s, depending on the mood. The bar's 80s theme, so I will do that. 90s, 2000s hip hop, R&B, Summer Hits of the Tens is popular.
Summer hits of the tens.
Yeah. And then if I'm like,
what's a summer hit of the tens?
Carly Rae Jepsen.
Got it. Call Me Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It's an earwormy song.
If I'm in a mood music, it's folk, like folk pop.
Okay. All right. That's cool. And I've never been a bartender. I've never done any sort of food service or anything like that. It's sort of surprising because I didn't really have much money as a college student, and I sort of have the personality for it. I just never did it.
Do you like eating in restaurants?
Sure. Who doesn't?
Some people don't.
Really?
I mean,
yeah, I guess
a lot of service industry people don't.
Yeah, I guess so.
But I do. I love eating in restaurants.
Yeah. Okay, so I had a really fascinating experience in downtown LA. There's this new bar experience. It's only like a few nights a week. Are you familiar with this guy? This guy, Kevin, his name escapes me right now, but he's, if you've seen the movie Jiro Dreams of Sushi.
I know what you're talking about. Is it something a Wolf Place?
Yes, it's at the Wolves. It's this little 8-seat bar upstairs in there.
I'm dying to go.
It's really cool. It's pricey.
Yeah, that's fine.
But essentially what he does is he takes a chef's approach to bartending. And so he sources locally all the Amaros and mixers and all that kind of stuff, and then makes recipes of drinks. So you get a tasting menu of these drinks. They're all, of course, delicious, and it's a great atmosphere, very intimate, and so on. And then what I think one of the coolest things that he does is that when he runs out of those ingredients, he just stops making those drinks. The recipes are never written down.
That's so cool.
They're ephemeral. They're gone. They're here for now and then they're gone forever.
I love that. Have you ever been to Noble Experiment in San Diego?
No, but I've heard of it.
It's similar, small, and their menu is, they have a classic cocktail menu, which is like the traditional way you make a Negroni or whatever, and then their take. And then they have an option for trust me, basically. Tell me what spirit you drink and what you like, and I'll make you something good.
It's interesting hearing him talk because he pointed out that, the sort of rise of cocktails, and these fake speakeasies and so on, that there was a time where when it was first coming up, you had to go to New York to get a proper old fashioned or Manhattan or something like that. But now I can make one.
Yeah.
I do, right? So you go on Amazon, you buy the glass, the mixer, the bitters and all that kind of stuff. And then, everything's exactly that. Like all that stuff is the same thing that's at every cocktail bar in America, around the world.
Yeah.
And so his point is, well, if it's all the same stuff, you're not getting anything special. I mean, it's a delicious drink, sure, but you're not getting anything special. So he makes it special by doing away with as many of the traditional, bitters and all this kind of stuff.
I like that. I like the idea of, I'm like studying cocktails. Like you learn so much just about kind of how drinks are made. And it's like all that Prohibition era stuff is like, yeah, you put sugar in whiskey. It tastes good, man.
Yes.
This is like undrinkable whiskey back then, So I think it's interesting. I don't know. I like it. I like drinking. I like making drinks.
But drinking is fun. It's just the downside of it all.
Oh, yeah.
So I was curious about what kind of bartender you were because you're a comedian.
Mm-hmm.
And your alternative life is that of bartender, at least for now.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know if your alternative life would be one where you're trying to be comedic. Like if you're going to be
funny at work?
Yeah. If you're going to be the person who that would become your outlet. Right. So suppose you're not doing comedy anymore. You're not doing podcasts. You're not running a show. Does Lisa the bartender become a bit more, I'm about to use a terrible pun.
No, it's okay.
A bit more spirited.
I love it. I think that I do make jokes to customers. I think and I hope that I'm good at reading which customers allow for that and which don't. And obviously regulars and stuff like that, it's a lot easier. But I won't bring up politics or religion or, like any kind of like women's issue stuff, which is stuff I will talk about in my stand up.
I see.
I'll more make jokes about the drinks or about, if I spill something or stuff like that, where it's like, you know, appropriate and doesn't cross a professional boundary.
Yeah. One thing that I've heard about comedians tell me is this idea that you can't ignore what's going on in the room.
Right.
And so if someone spills a drink in the club that you're working, if you don't acknowledge it, it becomes weird. And so there's all this opportunity for sort of comedy coming from unintentional places. That sounds like the kind of bartending comedy that you...
Totally. Yeah. I mean, like a keg kicks and I'm pouring a beer, I'm going to get splashed in the face. I'm not going to make like a cum joke. You know, I could, but I don't think my boss would like that. So like, there has to be like a barrier.
All right. On that note, that's great. So I have a lot of things I want to chat with you about. Do you want to talk about your podcast first, or you want to talk about your joke notebook or your system that you use to write down your ideas?
Let's talk about the podcast first. I just finished recording one, so it's fresh in my mind.
All right. So What's Your Sign? It's a astrology podcast. And I admittedly have not listened to it.
That's fine.
So give me a little primer on what you're doing.
Are you interested in astrology?
Nope.
What's your sign?
Aries.
Okay. So is my boyfriend. What's Your Sign it's been called my favorite murder for astrology. It's like we pick a topic every week and then we explore it together. So we're not astrologers, we're comedians, and we have a more, less precious, I guess, way of talking about these topics that are spiritual and mean a lot to people. And to some people that is fun and great. And to some people it's really not offensive, but like they hold something they hold dear, and we take light.
So do you get hate mail?
We've gotten a few reviews that aren't super nice, but also for the most part, the people in that community are really giving and open, and they'll say, please don't say stuff like this, or that's not true, but they won't be like, you fucking morons, you know?
Okay.
Which we will do.
So when I can imagine if you're on iTunes and you search for astrology, you find a wide array of different types of podcasts. Are you the only comedic astrology podcast?
I would say we were probably the first and the most popular comedic astrology podcast. I'm sure there are other ones now. We've been doing it over a year. But some of the other astrology podcasts are also very funny. They just don't brand their podcast that way. Mm-hmm. It's more about like being kind to each other and stuff, which we also need.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are the beats in the podcast?
We just do a quick like catching up. It's 3 gals hosting, a quick catching up, and then we get into the daily topic. We each usually bring different information. And, you know, at the end, if there is a possibility to run through like what this means for your sign, we'll do all 12 at the end.
I see. Okay.
But sometimes like those things aren't like certain planets don't move that fast. So it's like, we're not going to know what Pluto's going to do in 300 years. Like, I don't know.
So what, as a person who doesn't know much about astrology and admittedly doesn't care to,
right?
What should I know about astrology? What am I missing?
I don't know. Are you single?
I am.
I probably wouldn't tell people you're an Aries.
What? Oh, really?
Yeah. I think Aries men have a reputation of being, like kind of, wham bam, thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Or like, yeah, they might not call you back or something. So,
So wait,
I mean-
so I should lie? What should I say?
No, I wouldn't like, but if you have like a profile, I wouldn't be like #1 Aries fuckboy or whatever. Like,
Should I be a Sagittarius?
no, don't lie. I mean, you don't need to lie, but like, yeah, I just wouldn't open with that probably.
Okay, I didn't
'Cause
know.
I
I
think
always thought
you
Aries
come
was
off-
stubborn, but that's all. That's the only thing I ever recall anyone saying.
Aries they're the ram, so they like just do things on instinct. They're
I
like, I'll
see.
go. Yeah, sure, whatever. And they're super fun, but then they don't call you back because they're not like a finisher, you know? But you had like a Libra vibe to me, which is the opposite of Aries, which you might have Libra in other places in your natal chart. But, yeah, like lean into that part of it. Because Libras are like the partnership, the sweetie, like, yeah.
I see. Okay. My love languages are service and words and
Oh, okay.
all that stuff.
All right. That's cool.
I think that I don't remember all of them, but I know that's like, those are like 2 of them. I like to say nice things to my
Yeah,
partners.
that's great.
All right. I'll lean into my Libra-ness.
Yeah. I mean, we all have everything somewhere. So, lean in.
Okay. That's, and so how did this come about? Like, so, and who are these other people?
Julia Loken and Stevie Anderson. And I guess it was like a year and a half ago. We just like talking about astrology, really.
Okay.
And so we're like, let's do this. No one else is doing this.
That's great. And what have you learned from it besides more astrology?
I know so much about the planets and the signs. And, I think the main thing that I've learned is that if you learn something about something, like everyone that has a problem wants you to help them with their problem.
Oh,
or like,
I see.
they want to know about stuff that you can't tell them, I guess.
Okay.
Where it's like, I can't help you fix your life. Like, I just know like facts and dates and like all this stuff.
I see. So you have people reaching out for counsel, given your expertise.
I mean, we do read natal charts for money, but like, I can't tell you like if your relationship with your mom is ever going to improve. I can tell you that this is a way a strategy that you might want to communicate with her, or what's a good day to try or something like that.
Okay.
But I don't even know if you're willing to improve it. Like coming to me and asking me if it's ever going to get better isn't that I can't give you an answer to that.
I can tell people to get therapy.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
Yeah, I think that's such an interesting thing that I mean, I do think that people are searching for answers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think astrology is, it's like a compelling place for a lot of people to find those kinds of answers.
For sure.
Yeah.
And most of the answers you get from astrologers are like, we don't know. Hopefully it's good.
Yeah.
So
now, in your interest in astrology, does it? Oh, as an aside, speaking of planets, I just want to say I made $20 recently on a bet about does the sun rotate
on its axis?
Yes.
That's an easy win, huh?
You know, I thought it rotated, but the other person was so sure that it didn't rotate. I was like, well, let's just wager on this.
It does, right?
It does.
Okay.
Yes. It's slowly, but not as fast as the Earth, for example, but it certainly does. So it's going to be a sweet $20.
Okay. That's awesome.
I'm making sure I'm getting paid in cash too, not Venmo.
Yeah. I get that cash.
Yeah.
Cash is king.
It's also more fun. Like bets are more fun when you have to pay.
Yeah. So you can see the look in there. I know. I feel you.
Now, so does your interest translate into other, what I would call adjacent areas? And I don't mean any offense by this, but like
no.
tarot cards, for example.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Tarot, crystals. I do all kinds of, I have cards in my back.
I was going to ask you if you have some cards. Can you get them out? She's looking in her bag right now.
I don't have tarot cards, but I have these angel cards by Doreen Virtue, which this is a set my mom gave me a long time ago.
Okay. Can we do a little of this?
Yeah, let's do it. It's really like pick one, and they're really easy and fast and fun.
I may also take a picture of this.
Yeah, of course.
It probably will be our picture for the episode. Okay.
So they're Healing with the Angels Oracle cards from Doreen Virtue. She doesn't believe in this anymore, which makes me even like them even more.
Wait, so the person who made these are Healing with the Angels, and the person who made them, this PhD.
Yes.
Doreen Virtue. Is this a made up name?
No, I don't know. I mean, she used to do these daily videos, and she had a site that would look up any angel number
Okay.
and tell you what it meant. But she like took it down because she doesn't really.
She's lost faith.
No, she's found a different faith, I think.
Oh, really?
Yes.
How convenient.
Yes, but I still.
So the fact that she has abandoned this makes you more
like
committed.
More. I know. They're really simple cards, though. I don't know if you have anything you're thinking on, or if you want to like think about the episode, or if you have like a problem in your life. They're really like simple and silly. They're not like big deal stuff.
Okay, so how explicit do I need to be?
You don't even have to tell me. You can just think.
Hold on, then let me think about it. Okay, should I tell you? If I
you
can
want
tell
to,
you.
yeah.
So I'm contemplating. I have very mixed feelings about this secret project I'm working on.
Okay.
And it's to be a podcast, and I'm just not sure. Even though I've put a lot of time into it, planning it, and so on, I'm still not sure whether I should do it.
Okay.
Or
Let's see.
not.
Manifestation. Okay. So let's see.
Will you be laying these out? So
I usually just pull one, but we can like pull a couple if you want.
I'm trying to make a better photo.
Okay, so looking at this just as the cards, like
I'm very happy with these cards.
Reading her descriptions, I would say that when you see support, I always think of like ask someone to partner with you, or ask like a co-host, or a network, or ask for financial support or something like that. Miracles means that it can happen like no matter what. If you want it to happen, it will. Manifestation just means that I think there's more to be thinking on.
That's the first one you pulled. So that's the real one. Let's
see what she says though, because she always has like a good. You can experience this gifts of opportunity and abundance. Your hope for aspirations are on the way to you. They may come in a different way than you expected, but they're coming. Peace, security, happiness, exactly as you request. This is the process by which all thoughts transform. First, they begin as an idea. The idea meets with the feeling, then nurture, and then manifest. So you're in the idea phase right now.
Mm-hmm.
You're thinking about it.
I am.
Wait till it becomes a feeling, and then, follow that. That's Doreen's advice.
All right. That's helpful.
And miracles are coming, and then, find your support. Yeah. Whatever that is.
One thing I'm realizing when it comes to doing a podcast is that I'm doing it wrong. I'm doing this podcast wrong.
Why? I think you're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I think in terms of hosting it, I'm adequate. But in terms of building it, I've realized, this will be episode 80-ish or so. I realize that I'm not doing the right things in terms of trying to promote it and
to market it and so on. Instagram. That's my advice.
Really?
That's that's where we get a lot of stuff from. But I also think that you're doing great. I don't know.
You're very nice. No, I think, in terms of, it has served my purpose. I never actually set out to make it big, but and as a result, I never looked into what it takes to try to grow a podcast, especially a podcast where you're, I'm not a big deal. It helps to be a big brand.
Sure.
If you want to, and if you're not that, then you need to hustle a lot more. And so I realized
it's a lot of work.
I'm not hustling as much as I should, although I'm enjoying doing it.
It's great.
For example, this conversation's a lot of fun, and one that this is the first time I've ever had cards pulled.
Really? Well, man, you should have told me. I would have brought more cards.
I have one dedicated listener who will be so happy.
Oh, that's great.
With this idea. So, the show that you host and produce, Chatterbox Comedy Night, where is that?
Covina.
In Covina, okay.
Tonight.
It's tonight.
9:00.
That's exciting.
Every Sunday at 9.
Every Sunday at 9. So except
the Super Bowl, sorry.
Except the Super Bowl.
Yeah. We take the Super Bowl off.
Oh, you do?
People are too drunk.
Oh, see, I'm a non-Super Bowl watcher.
Or
I'm a Super Bowl non-watcher. And so I'm always on the lookout for something.
Get into astrology, man. That's all the stuff. I think they have the expo at the airport on Super Bowl Sunday.
Is that right? I like the idea that when the world is zigging, I want to zag.
Okay.
And so I'm always either I'm going to like just have a nice quiet night because everybody else is doing stuff, or I'm going to look to do something different because everybody's doing something else.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. And so I bet you still have, I mean, the Super Bowl is so big, but I'm sure with the type of person who goes to your show.
Oh, people would still come, but it's not the people like you that are like looking for something to do. It's the people that are like, now we're just going to go to this bar anyway after the Super Bowl and interrupt and be disruptive.
Good point.
Also, sometimes the comics are too drunk and it's like, come on, we can't do that.
Good point. So you were saying when we were setting up that you have, so both for your podcast and your show, you have several co-producers, hosts, participants, and so on. Why so many? I'm curious.
So what's
as a guy doing this completely alone, the single man doing this podcast alone. Why so many
helpers?
Yes, support. Why so much support?
Well, What's Your Sign? I do with Stevie Anderson and Julia Loken, and then Chatterbox I also do with Julia and both of our boyfriends. So Chatterbox was started by both of our boyfriends, and they brought us on as producers like within the last year. And it's been
to spend more time with you, or because you guys are better at doing this?
I think mainly because
are you two comics dating two comics?
Yeah. I think it's mainly because, well, I mean, we're all very close friends too. And it's a weird, like, group of four. Weird. And we all have weirdly, you know, Scott has a relationship with Steve. I have a relationship with Steve. Scott has a relationship with Julia. I have we all have like.
You guys are like ABBA.
It's gross, is what it is. But I think initially Julia and I were just coming to the show a lot because we do stand up and the show is really good. And they've been producing it for almost 10 years. So it's like a really fun show, but also a night that we get to make sure and spend with our boyfriends and like hang out. And so we just ended up kind of doing a lot of the stuff that a producer would do without being asked, like putting away chairs and helping set up and doing stuff like that. And maybe 2 or 3 years ago, they asked us to start helping out with hosting the open mic and stuff. So we just ended up taking on a lot of that role. And I think that it came to a point where they were like, it doesn't really feel right for us to be like the producers of the show and you guys be like sometimes hosts because you do just about as much work.
I see.
So that's pretty much how it came about.
And you said Julia is her name?
Mm-hmm.
And is Julia the woman who is in some of the videos that you do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice. with the red hair? Or blonde hair?
I only saw a few. There's like do's and don'ts at the pool.
Oh, no, that's Kelly.
Okay. And then expectations and
that's
reality.
Kelly. Yeah, that's Kelly. We have some Chatterbox videos too, where you'd see Julia, me, Scott, and Steve, and another cast of characters.
Okay. And is there, in terms of Chatterbox, like one thing I've noticed is sometimes these shows have a theme. Mm-hmm. Is there a theme or is there something special about your show?
It's special because it's a bar show where we are actually allowed to throw people out.
Nice.
Which is hard to find. It's special because the audience is not entertained. They're not in the industry. They're regular people. Mm-hmm. So even though it's only like a 30 to 45 minute drive, it kind of feels like you're on the road where people actually care and they're not like, oh, I could write something funnier than that. Or,
and Covina is where, so we're in Hollywood right now. It's in the Inland Empire. By the way, I just love that it's called the Inland Empire. Yeah, it's like, great. It's one of those things you're like, you're kind of overpromising. It's a great brand. It's a great way to try to brand a place that's nice.
Yeah, it's fine.
But doesn't
TGI Friday is nice.
But the Empire part is slightly overpromising.
Yeah,
I'd say.
Yeah, but it's like
so. This is like
regular people from after, like, with regular
normal
jobs
people, that
aren't like scouting for television or like analyzing nuance of something. It's just like, oh, that made me laugh.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah. People not like me.
I don't know. I feel like you'd like the show.
No, it's not that. It's just, since I study comedy, I have a tendency to be a little too analytical and not just there to have fun. Yes, but I'm more of, and I'm not saying this in any way in a prideful manner. I'm more like a comedian who is just will nod his head and say, "That's funny. Oh, that's very good." Yeah. But then on occasion, for something really bright and shiny and great, I'll be overcome.
So I think for someone like you and like me and like other comedians, the beauty of the show is that I think the problem with performing in LA and not at the clubs in LA, because the clubs in LA get a lot of people from out of town and people doing stuff on their night out. But sometimes there are other shows where it's all people like us in the crowd. Mm-hmm. And that environment is contagious, as well as it being all people not like us in the crowd. Mm-hmm. So when it's dark and everyone's laughing, it makes people like you and me have an even better time, loosen up a little, be able to chuckle a little. You can nudge your friend and go, that was a good one, or, but it feels a little bit more magic than when the whole crowd is there being like, oh yeah, cool.
Yes, I think that's right. So I have a couple questions for you. I had, I think it'll come out before this episode, but I interviewed Todd Glass.
Mm-hmm. One of my all-time faves.
I really enjoyed. So if you're a listener and Todd Glass's work, he's kind of semi-outraged all the time on stage. And even on the podcast, he dropped into that character, but he's really a quite lovely man. And was really, I really enjoyed his company. He has very strong opinions about creating a good comedy room.
Oh yeah.
Even deeper. And that's why I picked him, because I wanted to chat with him about that idea, but even more so than I anticipated. Like I thought he was just going to talk about all the kind of regular things that every other comic either complains about or notices and so on. But he, so one of the reason I'm bringing this up is he talked about table talk, and he pointed out this club in Bloomington, Indiana, the Comedy Attic. And his argument is one of the best clubs in the country, in the world, because the club management looks to remove all, I'm going to do it again, chatter. And, You know what I mean? So, and even little bit of table talk happening, they essentially politely shush people. And he said that it has this magnificent effect on the room where the audience is zoned in, focused on the comedy and not distracted by others. The other stuff he went on and talked about was little changes like unscrewing a light bulb, closing a door, doing, making these little things that can be distracting, less distracting. And then the last thing was just creating some more ambiance. And he tells a story. I'm going to misremember it, but he tells a story like he basically went and turned these lights off, put these little candles.
That's like an urban legend Todd Glass thing.
Is that right?
Yeah, where everyone's like, he shows up to your place putting candles on tables.
Yeah, exactly. And his big one was napkins. Okay. Get some black napkins. No white napkins. Like these white napkins with mozzarella sauce and so on all over.
They reflect the light.
Yes, that's right. He's like, just get some black napkins. Yeah. And so I'm curious, this is a show that's been going on for some time. Do you folks, do you have a Todd Glass in your group? Who's kind of focused on these things?
We're all extremely meticulous about the way the show's set up. Steve is probably the most, because he knows that he works at that bar and he knows the bar the best. But we are all super meticulous about the way the chairs are set up. You want it like close to the stage, not too close to the stage. We don't let people move chairs. Like when they get there and it's like a party of 5 and they want to move like one chair from over here, and it's like, nope, this is how it's set up. You can sit further back, you can sit closer up, but like
you can't
just like move the chairs around. The door's always closed. There's always a door person. Definitely we tell them at the top, no talking. Someone talks, we usually give them one try.
I see.
Hey, keep it down. And if it happens again, they get removed. Which it happens because it's a bar and it's not a comedy show and they didn't pay a ticket to get in. So it happens. And it's always some guy in a sports jersey, but whatever. I mean, you can pick them out before the show starts and like just sit by them, you know? The lighting's definitely really low in there, but we do change the lights when we get there. I mean, we have a pool table. We turn the light off for that. We hang up stuff. We have a camera. We're pretty well.
Todd would be happy.
Yeah, I think he'd love the show. I think that our audience would love him. I don't think he's ever done it, but yeah, I think he'd like it. He might want a couple candles, but we'd bring them if you wanted them.
That's fun. Yeah, I think those things matter.
They do, for sure.
I think they matter, you know.
We want to make sure that people can get up and go to the bathroom and the bar if they need to. So it's not like super dark in those areas where you're walking, and then everywhere else you're pretty good, you know. You can hide in there, laugh.
That's great. Well, if I find myself in the Inland Empire on a Sunday,
come.
I've said this before on the pod. The place I let my guard down as a consumer of comedy is when I watch improv.
Oh, really?
Because I'm not dissecting, because it's unplanned. And so it's just happening so fast. I don't find myself, predicting punchlines or analyzing them.
Do you enjoy improv?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, quite a lot.
Interesting.
It's also more my form of comedy. It's more my life.
Okay.
Like most of the laughs that I create in life are improvisational.
Okay.
And so on.
I used to do improv at UCB, but not like on a team. I just took their classes.
I've done a few.
But
a couple.
I'm not good at it. I don't do character work that well. I'm more of a straight man.
I see. Me too. That's I'd say my big weakness is, and I sometimes try to lean into it. Like, all right, I'm gonna play something that's gonna be really hard for me to play. I'm good.
Like
I'm good at what's that?
Like what?
Anything except for a professor, a teacher, a police officer, a lawyer. You know what I mean?
Oh, you like to be a position of authority. I have the opposite problem. I always make my scene partner an authority.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm just saying the things that I like, but turn me into a child or a lizard or a woman or whatever. You know what I mean? Anything besides the thing that I am day to day is going to be a bit of a challenge.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Lizard. That's a good one. Start with that. Go with that, I think.
Just start out as a lizard.
Yeah, I mean, like sticking your tongue out and stuff. I don't know if your scene partner will get it. You'll have to be like, "We're lizards, bud."
Well, the beautiful thing is that maybe I go out as a lizard and then I end up as something else.
Totally.
Right.
Lost my tail. It's like, are you lizard or Eeyore? We don't know.
Exactly. So I'd asked about your joke notebook. Do you actually have a notebook or do you use your phone?
I have it with me.
Let's see it. I haven't done this. I haven't done this in a long time, and I kind of miss it.
This is one of many, but yeah, it's a mess.
Okay.
All of them are.
She just tossed it on the table across from me. So,
all of them are organized.
So is this a set list right here?
This is like kind of a set list, but it's more it's like too long. Like that would be like 15 minutes or something. I think it was like an 8-minute set.
New GF, new girlfriend.
New girlfriend.
What's that bit?
I ran into my ex-fiance at an ostrich farm and he had a new girlfriend with him.
Oh, that's earlier. You have ostrich farm.
Yeah.
Cool.
I have to remember that the beats are cool. I don't know it.
Egg.
Oil. New girlfriend. Fastest.
Something else. One of the
ostriches. I have to say that before new girlfriend.
Why is that? Go on.
I don't want to do it because it's been bombing so hard. I don't want to do it on record.
Just tell me the beats. You don't have to do the bit.
So I ran into my ex-fiance at an ostrich farm and I posted I hadn't seen him in 4 years.
Okay.
I posted on Twitter that I ran into my ex-fiance at an ostrich farm, and everyone responded and asked if he was one of the ostriches.
Okay.
And I was like, no, he was an abusive alcoholic, but thank you so much. I do wish he was a flightless bird. And then I say he had a new girlfriend with him. She looked like she was like kind of mad at me, or maybe her face just looks like that from being with him for so long.
I see.
It's not very nice, but neither was he. So
the fact that you ran into him, you really ran into him in an ostrich farm?
Oh, yeah.
It does say something about how you were compatible in some way, doesn't it?
I had the thought too.
That seems like a little bit of the bit, no?
I guess so. I just don't ever want to think of myself like him.
That seems like a bit of a bit.
Yeah, I guess so. Then I have to dig into my own mental illness
in order to work that through. I mean, forgive me.
No, it's fine.
But, look, this is easy for me to do as an outsider and as someone who studies this stuff and doesn't do it very much.
I mean, I'll try it.
Well, I only say that because to me, that's the interesting thing.
Right.
Right. The fact is that she's not nice and all that stuff. Like that feels familiar.
Totally.
And so, but the fact is that you hadn't seen him in 4 years and you decide one day to go to an ostrich farm.
Yeah. On vacation. Yeah. And so did he, I guess.
And there he is. And then the fact that it churned up all this stuff because.
Yeah, it was real weird. I mean, it wasn't fun.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know. I was with my boyfriend and he said that he thought I didn't know who it was by the way I responded to him.
Oh.
So I think that's interesting too, but I don't know how to make that into a joke.
Yeah, I see. Well. You know how to eventually.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, right. I'm looking at the backside of this. I just love these things.
Yeah.
Hungry, skinny, slightly upset.
Yeah.
Next line. Excuse me. Hungry, skinny is one line. Slightly upset is the next line. And then half Arab, half white.
Yeah. So, these are all new jokes. So I guess they don't have names yet. Hungry, skinny. At the bar I work at, there's this wall, like a.
By the way, your demeanor has completely changed.
Yeah, because I'm having to do fucking jokes right now. I'm gonna explain my crazy mind. Yeah, there's this wall, Instagrammable wall, and it says "Sorry for what I said when I was hungry." And skinny people are always taking pictures next to it because they're starving. But I'm fat, so I don't even like standing next to it. I don't want to be looking slightly upset next to the sign that says "Sorry for what I said when I was hungry." Anyway, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so that's the slightly upset part.
Yes.
Okay.
And then the half Arab, half white is something I'm working on about how I'm half Arab, half white. But I don't want to be a half Arab, I want kids, but I don't want to be a half Arab, half white mom.
I don't know, but
I just try to take white things and Arab things and put them together. Okay. But I've done like 8 versions of it, and I think only a couple of them are funny.
Okay.
People don't know Arab culture that well, so it's hard to
play on the stereotype.
Yeah. I mean, even like the stereotypes that I did use, which I thought were offensive, I don't think either people are offended or they don't get it.
Okay.
So we'll see.
So that your point is that as a mom bringing together these two things that might be negative about each of their.
Well, I think it's just different cultures like raise their children differently.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom, like, for instance, in like Arab culture, it's like very people like, I guess maybe not in all Arab culture, but like in my family, it's like considered pretty rude not to eat something if someone gives you something. Mm. And I think in white culture, they're like, watch what you eat, honey, which is very different. So stuff like that, I'm trying to juxtapose.
I see. Okay. All right. Last one and I'll stop this.
Okay.
We can go back to having fun.
Yeah.
The last thing you have, and I don't know if this is your closer, but green juice.
That's another Arab and white thing.
Perfume.
It's another Arab and white thing.
Okay.
How am I going to drink my green juice over the smell of my perfume? Green juice is a white thing. Too much perfume is a Arab thing.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of this stuff I could see how that would work with some audiences better than others.
I promise you, I have jokes that aren't new that are good.
No. But to me, of course you do.
Yeah.
I mean, of course you do. But to me, the fun thing about this is the fact that they're not new.
These are new.
Excuse me, that they are new, that they're not honed.
Yeah.
I think I enjoy chatting with comics about the stuff that they're working on. I like that too. I like the thing about, I mean, of course, this rarely happens. Like, I think in comedy podcasts, this happens all the time.
Sure.
But this is not one of those kinds of podcasts, but yet I see why it's fun to do. Like, I like the idea of, the thing that I like more is finding premises.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think I like the idea of finding a premise in a joke for a joke. And then that's fun. I don't have to do the hard work of actually turning it into something that's truly funny.
Yeah. I mean, we all happen on punchlines by accident. Don't let anyone tell you that they don't.
Yeah. I mean, look, as someone, I do professional speaking, and on occasion, I'll just impromptu say something that gets like a pretty big laugh. And then after everybody leaves, I'm scrawling notes down on a piece of paper, like, I need to incorporate that into
my speech,
into this talk. Yeah, that's right.
Do you record your talks?
Yeah. So this, I was afraid you were going to ask that question. So I am eager these days to get them videotaped because I'm trying to make a sizzle reel so I can then sell more of these things.
Right.
I've gotten better about watching myself.
Oh, it's very hard to do.
It's very difficult. And yet I know that it's important to do because you can pick up your mistakes. I do listen to this podcast sometimes. I don't listen to all of it. But early on I listened to them a bunch and I realized some of my tics. I'm not going to point out what they are because then it'll ruin it once you know the tic, it's really bad. Because you start noticing it everywhere.
Yeah.
But I need to get better. I'd say last year I had this, I'm like one of these people who I'm like sort of constantly self-assessing, figuring, I'm a big planner. I'm a big checklist person. I'm big, you know what I mean? I'm one of those types. It's just the way that I tend to be. And I was thinking a lot about, how I'm spending my time, what I'm working on. I've a lot of my life, I've never really worked for the money. It's a nice place to be, but as a result, I dabble in a lot of things. And I was thinking about my professional speaking and how bad it was. I'm a good teacher. I could be a good professional speaker, but it wasn't turning into an income stream. It wasn't something that I felt confident and comfortable with. I think my audience was pleased, but not delighted.
Okay.
And I thought hard about dropping it, stopping it kind of thing. And I had a conversation. I talked to a lot of friends and so on. And I was talking to one of my good friends about it. I was like, I think I'm going to stop doing the speaking. And he said, well, how hard are you working on it? Like on a scale of 1 to 10, where is it at? And I just immediately realized the problem.
Yeah.
And I was like, kind of like a 3 or 4. He goes, well, it seems impossible to make a decision whether you should keep doing it or stop doing it until you get to a 9 or a 10. And I was like, fuck, you're so right.
Yeah.
And so, and when I think about anything that I've ever done in my life that I got great at, not just good, but great, whether it be athletics or as a teacher or as a researcher. And frankly, most things in life I've never gotten great at, just good enough. In all of those cases, I turned it all the way up to 9, 10 and not just for a short period of time, but for years.
Yeah. And
so that's what I've been doing. A little less so right now because I'm working on a book. And so my speaking's very quiet, but like I hired someone to help me. I got a lot of feedback. I started seeking out opportunities to do it. And really put a lot into it. And so I have been more focused. This is my long way of saying I have been more focused on actually listening to myself and watching myself do this, because I know how important it'll be to get great at it. And thankfully it's working. Like the talk I have right now, that this business talk that I'm giving, it's by far the best talk that I've given on a regular basis. And I think I can make it even better.
I think the key to listening or watching yourself is, I do it at the lowest point of when I'm feeling the worst. And it's like, well, it's not going to get any worse. We're just going to do same with like emailing and asking people stuff. It's like, just do it when you feel terrible.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And also I think I'm more jaded and cynical when I'm not feeling my best. So I will allow myself to make fun of myself and roast myself and be like, that's stupid. Why'd you say that? And that only helps you write more, because then once you've seen the other side of something or the other argument that someone might give you against what you're saying or why it's funny, then you can easily make another joke and like tag onto that or present another side of the argument. I know you think this, but this is what I think.
That's so interesting. I mean, the intuition, the instinct is to do it while you feel good as a buffer against the ickiness that comes from doing it. There is some behavioral research that suggests why what you're suggesting is useful, which is essentially when you're in a negative mood, you can be much more focused on kind of the details and the problems, and you don't gloss over things as much. And so in terms of really getting into the weeds and dealing with the problems, sometimes being in a negative. Now, positive moods are better for sort of creativity, expansiveness, and so on. But in terms of, I think, kind of nitpicking stuff, it's a good place to be.
I think too, like if you struggle with your mental health, maybe don't do that, you know?
I see.
Like if I'm like in a serious crisis of some sort, someone's in the hospital or something like that, I'm not going to be like listening to sets. Like,
that's fair.
Yeah. You got to be like honest about where you're at.
Yeah. I'm fortunate. I get a little anxiety here and there, like in the way that successful people get anxiety, you know, when things really go awry, you know, break up or something that's, you know, you're in crisis, quote unquote. Yeah. I'm good. Like I just pull everything back, double down on friendships, make sure I'm getting rest, exercise, zero alcohol, eating right.
Dang, zero alcohol?
Oh yeah. I'm not much of a drinker these days anyways, but when if this shit goes down, I will not drink at all for any reason.
You.
Yeah.
What exercise do you do?
I did like a metabolic conditioning class today.
That's cool.
And then I do a little yoga. Back in Boulder, I would do some trail runs.
Okay.
I've started doing a little bit of Olympic lifting.
Whoa.
So I've been working on overhead squats.
That's cool.
I know, it's pretty wild.
Really cool.
And other things, like I'm really trying to work on moving better. So I've started last year, I started doing handstands.
I love handstands.
It's a new thing for me. I can't do them unaided, so I can't do them without a wall yet.
I do the wall too.
I mean, I could pull my feet off the wall, but I can't, like in the middle of equinox, just pop down and do a handstand and say, suck it, you know? But I'm doing double unders these days. So I do this jump rope class on Tuesday mornings.
That's cool.
It annihilates me.
Sounds hard.
Yeah. I'm the oldest guy in the class, and I'm
keeping up. Don't shake your head.
I know. I can hang, but it's hard. It's 30 minutes and it's no joke. I've only done it 3 times. So everybody else is regulars in there. They all know each other and all this kind of stuff. So
that's cool. I do Pilates and I swim.
You just, yeah. I swam in high school. I don't swim anymore.
I love swimming.
Yeah. That's good. It's great exercise. Talking about moving well. It's a great exercise. I love exercising.
Yeah, it's great. Free drugs.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah. And the only downside is soreness.
Yeah.
That's easy to deal with.
Totally.
I think so. All right. Let's do some more quick hitting
let's do
type
it.
stuff. Let's get you away from these
away from these
jokes.
Ugh, I don't know if we're even calling them jokes.
So you have like a lot of important people in your life.
Oh yeah,
it seems to me.
I do. A lot of valuable friendships and relationships.
Yeah. And so do you have like a perspective or a practice about that? Like how intentional are you when it comes to these kind of relationships?
I do think that for me, I do work very hard on all of my friendships and relationships. I do, make an effort to communicate very clearly with my friends and my partner. I'm less good at it the closer that you are to me, which is difficult on the people closest to me, I think. Like my mom or my boyfriend or something like that. I might be a little bit more harsh, or I just feel comfortable. So it's easier for me to let go of some of those communication things I really work on. I do think that socially that is where I'm luckiest in my life. Like, I notice all the time that I'll say something that I feel like I shouldn't have said, and then the person will be like, "What?" And I'll be like, "Oh, nothing." You know, like I feel like I just get lucky in social situations in a lot of ways. I think I'm approachable but firm. So I think that helps me in stand up. Like, I feel like I've made a lot of friends that way. My mom is always like, I don't know how you have friends. She's like, I'm not going to say my age, but she was like, you know, at that age, I didn't have like a lot of friends.
Okay. And
I think it is harder. Like, the older you get, it's harder and harder to make friends. And it's like losing more people than gaining. I think I'm very, very conscious of that. I think I'm very like death focused. So I think I am always trying to have more people in my life, which inevitably means you lose more people. But, I try to not think about it that way.
Well, if I may, you're a really likable person. Like, you have a nice.
Thank you so much. I just spilled on myself.
You weren't expecting
I'm not going to make a cum joke.
No, like, you have a nice way about you. Like,
thank you.
And I say this because I'm interested in this idea of front stage and backstage behavior. And so, right, so this is front stage right now.
Yeah.
But so, you know, we interacted in the lobby here just for a few moments.
Yes.
And that's more backstage.
Right.
You know, not total, but it's much more so backstage. And yeah, you just.
I'm comfortable.
You have an easiness about you and a confidence in the way you move through. I suspect move through life more generally, but even this, like, I'm a stranger.
Yeah.
You know, you had a referral, but I'm a stranger.
Yeah.
You know, kind of thing. And so, yeah. So I think so the fact is, I'm not surprised that you have I'm always looking for the title of the podcast. And my sense is the title of this podcast will something have to do with this idea of relationships and collaborations.
For sure.
And so on. It seems like a big part of your life.
Absolutely. Relationships are super important to me. Well, a lot of my jokes are about dating. And I think that's considered like not as valuable or something in stand up, where it's like, oh, women just talk about dating or whatever. But it's like, it's a huge part of our lives, and it's a huge part of the way that society like focuses us as women. And I think as men too, but like, there is still a lot of pressure to like get married and have kids and like be in a relationship from our parents' generation, from people of our generation. Like, that's still like a huge thing. And I asked you if you're single. I mean, everyone always asks like questions like that. So, but when I bring it up on stage, it's like, hack? I don't think so. Like, that is a huge focus in our society. And I think it's important to like, I mean, obviously I don't think my jokes are hack, but people hate when women talk about dating. And it's like, I'm sorry. Everyone tells us that we have to do this. So why shouldn't I talk about it?
I think you're right. You know, it's the default, right? Partnering up, getting married, having children is the default, right? People are more likely to do it than not. And maybe they're doing it less now, but it's still overwhelming. I think the I think the current thing is like 86% or something like that of people get married in their lifetime. And that number's dropping, but when you take into account, especially, baby boomer, like the baby boomer generation, those folks got married like crazy.
Yeah.
And then when they got divorced, they just got remarried again. So they're getting, they're coupling up all the time. That said, the pressure's way higher for women.
Yeah.
I'm old enough now, and I've never been married, that I don't get it as much. I get the occasional friend, usually female friend, who's like, Pete, I worry about you. You're gonna grow old alone and all this stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, if I'm old and alone, I'll just meet someone then. I don't have to do it now.
Yeah.
To avoid this state 30 years from now.
Totally.
But now people are just like, that's just Pete. He's not going to probably do this, and so it's.
Do you have an interest in it at all? Or you love your work and you have a lot of passions and.
Yeah. I'm not against having a partner, but it's not a goal for me. I don't want to have children.
Okay.
So when you don't want to have children, then the marriage thing seems largely irrelevant. And so I have this conversation on dates a lot, first date kind of thing, because I understand people have different priorities. But I think that my female friends get it a lot more. So why not? What's going on? I had a conversation. Oh my goodness. I wish I could remember who it was with. With a friend, and she had some family affair, and you're just like, how are things going? And she's like, things are great. I just got back from this European vacation. I just won this award at work, blah, blah, blah. Like all these great things going on in her life. And then like the aunt or whatever, it's like, no, but is there a special guy in your life?
Yeah.
And she's like, are you listening to me?
I know.
And so I just think that's not something that men have to deal with often.
Yeah. And I think for both or all genders, I should say, there are other types of relationships that we don't focus on as much because we are so focused on like who you're having sex with and like what kind of dates you're going on and all that kind of stuff. And it's like friendships are very hard work too. Relationships with family are also difficult. Like talking about your significant other's family, like that's hard. Like that stuff is difficult. And that is like interesting to me to navigate how relationships work. And it doesn't have to just be like people that you're intimate with. Like it can be applied to anyone.
Yeah, I think, so for me, I've had my family life has at times was quite chaotic. I had a difficult mother who, created chaos wherever she went. Mm-hmm. She did a lot for me. So I don't resent her for it in any way, but it just, I can't ignore the profound effect that had on me and for the rest of the family dynamics. And there were times where I was very alone in terms of making my way in life as an adult as a result of that. I have a sister who I adore. But I've never leaned on her that much. Mm-hmm. It's not in my nature to lean on my sister. I want her leaning on me. It's just the way I'm a bigger brother and that kind of stuff. And so, my cheat code in life, besides the like work hard and be successful because you have no fallback, has always been friends. It's always been, these are people that I go to for advice. I go to for support. There were times in life, if it all fell apart, I'm moving in my friend's basement. You know what I mean? Like that's where I'm headed, in life. And so as a result, in part because I value that, but also in part because friendships, I think can be hard. Yeah. I've always worked at them. I've always worked at trying to be a good friend and also picking them well. Yeah.
Which is tough.
And same way, picking a good partner.
Yeah.
You want to pick good friends.
Well, you want to, if you're me, always avoid your instinct.
Is that right?
I don't know. I think maybe more with relationships than friends. I'm better at putting up boundaries with friends, I guess. Well, the closer you are, you know?
Yeah, I see. So interesting. Thankfully, I think that idea of having to overcome your instincts must be difficult.
Yeah, I think it's mainly for me because, I mean, we don't need to get into this super hard, but my dad had dementia. And so I think that, and, you know, in whatever way of like trying to recreate that insanity in other parts of my life. And whether it's because I miss my dad or just because it was comfortable or like I didn't have a bad life, you know, but it's like, yeah, trying to recreate something that's unstable.
Yes.
And that's not what you want to do. You want to go the other way. Just because it's your dad, that doesn't mean you don't love your dad. That just means you just don't want to marry that person.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's so in the world of kind of the behavioral sciences, there's this idea of having to correct. And the thing about having to correct, so instincts are sort of fast. It's what we call system 1, sort of intuitive, emotional, quick. And most of our life is spent in that world. And system 2 is more calculated, more cognitive, slower, colder. And I think what you're suggesting is that you have to kick in system 2 sometimes.
Yes.
In order to keep yourself out of headache, heartbreak.
Yeah.
Trouble.
Yeah.
And so on.
The bottom of a bottle or something like that.
Lisa, when the shit hits the fan, you turn the taps off. You're writing.
Yeah.
Did you write today?
No. No, I didn't write today.
Will you write tomorrow?
Yeah, I will.
Tuesday?
Maybe at work.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see. Thursday will probably be good.
So you batch your writing?
I don't. I mean, I write as I think, but I also have to. I'm in a weird place in my job right now, so I'm like mostly having to just do it as I can. And it's a good time when you have the time for that to edit old stuff and make those old sketches better, or look at that pilot you haven't finished, or you know, you always surprise yourself when you haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah, and so I haven't had a lot of people on who do sketch, and so you have a bunch of videos, as I alluded to earlier on your homepage.
Yeah.
And do you have one of those in particular that you're quite fond of?
My favorite sketch, I don't know, it would be on the Chatterbox page, so I don't know if you saw it, but my favorite one is Guys Night, because I wrote it and I'm in it and I helped produce it, and it's basically what if guys were treated like girls when they went out.
It's a great premise.
Yeah, and I wrote a few of them.
You mean versus being ignored?
Yeah. Or like being allowed to do whatever they want without being questioned, or without it seeming like you're flirting with me or whatever. And it's like, I didn't even do anything, you know, I'm just here. Or just, you know, someone buys you a drink and then, you know, that they have expectations attached with that. Just stuff like that. I wrote a few of them, and we filmed one of them. And I do write a lot of, I guess that like role reversal kind of stuff for men. But it's hard because I want to feel comfortable with the men that I film that with too. So it's like, I mean, obviously the guys I filmed it with, but like, yeah, I don't know. It's hard.
That's fun. I look forward to it. It's on my to-do list to take a sketch writing class. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm eager to do it. I have no idea how good or bad I'll be at it.
You'll be great.
That's nice of you.
Yeah, of course. You will. It's so fun. Are you going to take UCB? I can tell you what to expect.
I'm taking UCB. You know, I'm a UCB guy, and it's down the street. You know, there's no reason I think not to.
Do you know how to write a script format-wise?
No.
So that'll be great. First day, you'll learn that.
Okay.
And then you'll get a couple of assignments, and they'll be much simpler than you expect.
I see.
And then it'll be very hard to do the first few times, even though the assignment is super simple. And then you'll get into the zone, and then your class will be over. Okay. And then you'll want to take the second one, I think. I really enjoyed I did the first 2 levels there. The second one, I was the only girl in class, and I broke off an engagement like the day before my second to last class. So I think I didn't go to the third one just because I had too much like on my plate. But I really enjoyed the class, and my teacher was very gracious with me, and I got a lot of great sketches out of it too. So
yeah, I have actually started a document with ideas.
Perfect.
Just to, when I hear something, I'm like, oh yeah, maybe that's. Although, yeah. Do you have any tips for me?
One of my favorite things that we did in the 201 level, if you take the class with a friend or if you have another friend that writes, we had to write each other's ideas.
You do what?
Write each other's ideas.
Okay.
And that was one of my favorite exercises. And the only sketch that someone's offered to buy from me. So I didn't sell it to them, but
okay. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Neat. Well, we'll see. All right, we have to wrap, but so I'm going to just ask you final question.
Okay.
Lisa, what are you reading, watching, or listening to?
What am I reading?
That's really, really good. Not run-of-the-mill good, but really good.
Ooh. Do you want one of each or just okay.
one or two things? It doesn't matter.
Bon Iver's new album.
Okay.
I just saw him live, or them, I guess, live.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really good. Oh yeah, and tasting beer. Yeah, I have it with me. Please.
What's this? Is a book?
Yeah, it's a bar book. It's an insider's guide to the world's greatest drink.
Randy is a true beer evangelist. He is saving souls one pint at a time.
Yeah. So
by Randy Mosher.
Right.
Mosher?
It's basically like a textbook about beer, and I don't know anything. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I don't drink a lot of beer.
Okay.
And I work at a bar, and people ask me questions a lot, and I don't know how to answer them. So my boyfriend had this book, and I asked him if I could borrow it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned so much, and I really like beer now.
Neat.
And I want to get like really good at it. I'm like, this book like actually gave me a passion for beer when I used to like kind of not drink it at all. So I think it's fun.
That's fun. People care about their alcohol. This book has sold 200,000 copies.
This book is also a guide for a test called Cicerone. So people do buy it a lot for that.
Okay. I'm on the page that has the differences in beer glasses.
Yes. So can
you tell me the 3 beer glasses that I'm looking at right now?
There's two more pages, so I don't know which.
Oh, shoot. It
might be the before or after.
Okay, so let me just say this. 2 of them are pint glasses.
It's probably a shaker and a...
Oh, they're all pint glasses, excuse me.
They're all pint glasses?
One of them is a shaker, yes.
Ugh. I don't like a shaker. I don't know, Weiss beer? Is that one? No, it's okay.
It's okay.
Oh, is it like the Koval or something? There's too many. There's too many glasses.
The English tulip pint.
Okay, the English tulip. The shaker.
And Nanik.
Nanik. Yeah, that one.
And then there's a whole bunch of others here.
Here they are.
Oh yeah, they're in your notebook.
They're in my notebook. I like that Nanik or Nonik.
Mm-hmm.
The one that has the little bump in it so that you can hold it standing up.
That's funny. So I've had this, sometimes it takes someone else to point out like one of your weird quirks because you don't think it's a quirk because you're doing it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I found out that I have a thing about the glass that I get whatever it is served to me in. Okay.
What's the thing? Because I can tell you some stats on glasses here.
Well, okay. So I'll give you the example. So this friend pointed this out to me. Actually, it was a date.
Okay.
So for example, if I get a cocktail, so if I say I order a Manhattan, I want it in a rocks glass, but up. So,
that's fine.
So no ice.
That's fine.
The challenge with that is there's no easy way to tell someone that. right? There's not a shortcut, right? So if you order a Manhattan, usually comes up in like an old sort of martini glass.
Yeah, or a coupe. Yeah.
Oh, I don't even know what it's called. I don't like that because it feels like it's just going to fly out of the, you know what I mean? It's a little too dainty. And I like a rocks glass, but I don't want any ice in it.
Right.
You know, so I like the rocks glass because it feels it's got some heft to it and it's some stability.
Sure.
In that sense. So that's one example.
Well, you can say up in a low ball or something, or up in a sturdy glass.
Up in a sturdy glass.
Yeah, don't say rocks glass because that is confusing. Though if they're listening, they should be able to do it.
Okay.
But yeah, or just say I like the small glass or something. No stem. I don't know.
Yeah. See what I'm saying? So the fact is that I care enough to go through that. The other one is that so when I order like a cappuccino or a cortado or a flat white or some one of these like delicious espresso drinks with steamed or foamed milk, you know, I always want it in ceramic, or I want it in these Gibraltar glasses.
Okay.
And so much so that if they automatically put it into a cardboard paper cup, I ask them to put it into, because you know these drinks I drink fast.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I have always thought it was fair too, because of the aesthetics of it all. Like I think that you can't actually remove the glass from the experience.
This is why you need a retasting beer, because I think you're going to love this book. He talks about, like, here's an example, but how each piece of the glass contributes to your drinking experience. So it's like the edged tulip at the top, like it matches the shape of your mouth. And then this like helps it bubble more. This like helps create a head at the top of the glass. Certain stuff like that. I mean, I think Kaime were like the first ones to get that bubble thing at the bottom, but I don't know. It's just cool. And like, now I know how to tell if a glass is dirty in a bar, so that's cool.
Yeah, that's fun. I mean, to me, I think, you know, so without getting defensive about it, my argument was, this is an aesthetic experience. Why not think it all the way through?
Yeah.
You know, in that way. So this book reminded me of my tendency to.
You and Randy are on the same page.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And I don't mind being made fun of for this kind of stuff either.
Of course not.
Yes. I mean, if
you did, that would be bad.
Yes, I know. But I'm also not willing to budge in order to not be made fun of.
Sure. Why would you?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think
we see eye to eye.
Yeah.
Lisa.
Thank you so much for having me.
This was great fun.
Thanks.
Thank you for trusting your friend's judgment and taking advantage of some free parking and
this
doing
is
my
one of
podcast.
The least dangerous things I've done, even this week.
Well, this was a lot of fun. So my LA listeners, Chatterbox Comedy Night every Sunday in the Inland Empire.
That's right.
In Covina.
Bring your crown to the Empire.
Super fun. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to visit petermcgraw.org for more information about our guest, show notes, and social media links. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe,